let's say the most recent version of the fiat Ponzi that Lebanon had to go through. So it started October 2019. Um, the government is so funny in a way. The government had telecommunication government wanted to implement a tax on WhatsApp. Tax on WhatsApp.
Oh,
Do you use
hold,
WhatsApp?
hold, wait. Attacks on WhatsApp.
Yeah, and it makes a
How
lot of
is that
sense
possible?
if you're, I'll tell you.
Keep 'em cold till I'm old. I don't plan to blow my load. Wallet so blue, if you know, you know. It's better than bonds, better than gold. Finna reap up what I sow. If it money can't keep up, it gets sold. How many times you been told? DCA's the way to go. Higher highs, higher lows. Every year my network grows. Every day my network grows. Running relays, running nodes. Yeah. Dollar a day's a minimum. Stats, zap sats. Any fear I get, I'm flipping them.
Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, my name is Michel Jabour, and I am Lebanese, born and raised. I am also Canadian, adopted Canadian citizen, having lived for almost a decade in Canada, and swimming against the current as now lots of Lebanese people have been seeking to leave
Yeah.
Lebanon because of everything that's been happening. I recently moved back to Lebanon. It's been 6 months already. So yeah, live from Beirut.
Live from Beirut. So it's recent. So I'm happy to have you on the podcast because I don't think I've had someone from Lebanon and
Okay.
dual citizen, Lebanese,
Mm.
Canadian on my podcast before. So I probably come from a quite ignorant perspective. Please be patient with me if I say things or I have follow up questions that are obvious to you.
Of course, and thank you for saying that. And you can't really claim to understand or know. The world is huge. Cultures are very different. So I don't take offense to questions as long as you want to know something. Just don't be shy to ask.
Thank you. So let's start with your Bitcoin origin story. How did you find Bitcoin?
Like I remember a specific. Actually, it was a shower thought to be very precise.
Washing your hair?
My long luscious hair. I was it was in 2021. So actually tomorrow, I don't know when you're gonna be releasing this, but tomorrow marks the anniversary of the first time I ever bought Bitcoin.
Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. So, April 17th, 2021 is the first time you bought Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's it.
April 17th, 2024 is when I first started this podcast. So, we share an
Oh,
anniversary.
I like that. That's nice. I like that. So yeah, I was Lebanon was going through a literal economic hell that we can probably also touch on.
Oh, yes.
The lira, the Lebanese pound, was hyperinflating like literally by the minute. The rate was fluctuating by the minute, and I was money like US dollars account were frozen. You couldn't touch your money for a long time. Now there's capital controls unofficially implemented. So um, I was living in Canada, and although I was obviously safe, secure in my surroundings, and able to access whatever money I had in the bank in Canada, I had lost a lot of savings that I have left
Oh,
in Lebanon. So I remember very well. And it was the bull market, lots of every bull market, Bitcoin appears on the news, on the legacy media
yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Um, I guess more, I think this cycle is a bit different, but yeah, so back then everybody was talking about Bitcoin and the number go up. And this is when I told myself in that shower, okay, Michel, maybe through buying Bitcoin and crypto, because I was not a maxi then, maybe I can get back whatever my government stole from me. that was initially why I decided to jump into the crypto ecosystem. I hate
So
these
I'm
two
gonna,
words. I
yeah,
hate these two words.
ecosystem in crypto, right? I
Yeah.
hear that. But I think so many people pass through that phase. And so I wouldn't say it's a rite of passage, but it's something that happens with everyone because conceptually Bitcoin is still quite new. And so it's difficult to understand what it is. And for some people, going through the crypto path is a way to understand Bitcoin. Disclaimer, I'm not telling anyone to go through crypto at all, but people have gone that route and it's understandable. So what exactly happened to the Lira? Like, walk us through, like, events leading up to it, what actually happened, and how, I guess, most people have reacted to it.
So it's important to keep in mind that this was actually the second time this has happened, this huge hyperinflation of the lira. And I would like to touch on also the first time,
Yes,
if we
please.
have time. I think it's pretty telling that how history repeats itself, and um, like I was very young back then. I do have memories of obviously of my parents and what happened. Like we used to keep gallons of oil of gas in the house because the price of gas would wildly fluctuate from day to day. And
Wow.
I mean, you need gas for the cars. So let's say the most recent version of the fiat Ponzi that Lebanon had to go through. So it started October 2019. Um, the government is so funny in a way. The government had telecommunication government wanted to implement a tax on WhatsApp. Uh,
Oh,
do you use WhatsApp?
wait. A tax on WhatsApp.
Yeah, and it makes a
How
lot of
is that
sense
possible?
if you're. I'll tell you. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but so as the technology and the internet has rendered phone calls obsolete,
Oh, okay.
um,
Yep.
and since a very big part of Lebanese people live outside of the country, and in order to keep in touch with their family, and we love to talk a lot, so WhatsApp I mean, it's not just in Lebanon, right, and all over the world, a very important way for people to keep in touch, video calls, audio calls.
Yep.
And I suppose the government wanting to increase their tax revenues, having lost whatever money they were making on international calls, they wanted to tax WhatsApp. And like, Lebanon is a very, very heterogeneous country in terms of religions, cultures, and usually people blend pretty well together, but not always. But this thing really got put all the Lebanese, they walked hand in
Unite
hand.
around WhatsApp.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Everybody, Muslim, Christian, Druze, atheists, whatever. Everybody was. We were one. I was not there, but like I was obviously watching everything. So this was not implemented anymore, but there was a sign of the government kind of desperate to get some money to fill, because of all the government spending. So what happens after there was riots in the streets, the banks closed, with the metal fences and everything. Downtown Beirut was also barricaded. Um, so we couldn't access our money for like the banks were closed, the ATMs were closed, and online banking still is not a big thing in Lebanon.
Oh,
S-
wow.
Yeah, it's getting implemented now. It's the new phase of fiat. I'll tell you about it. But anyway, in when the banks reopened, there was unofficial capital controls, meaning you couldn't withdraw as much money as you wanted, whether from the ATMs or if you go to the counter. I remember parents who had their children like at universities in the States or in Europe, they had to show proof imagine showing proof that your kid has a rent to pay, or you need to pay for fees, university
Wow.
fees. So exceptionally, they would allow you to withdraw a part of your money. It's insane. Um, and I remember, like, my mom was very diligently every week, she would go to the bank, withdraw whatever $200, $300 she could. But then it was too late. Like, you knew things were never gonna be the same again. And then obviously the lira started to take a plunge.
Yeah.
Um, so the lira was pegged to the dollar. $1, sorry, would get you 1,500 Lebanese pounds.
Okay.
That was since 1992 almost. And it's funny because everybody like knows the multiplication table of 1.5, and you could go get groceries, like buy tomatoes at this like a mom and pop shop at the corner, give him dollars, get back change in Lebanese pounds. It was really interchangeable
Wow.
for years. So then the rate plunged, and today it is 89,700 pounds instead of 1,500. Yeah,
89,000.
yeah. And even
Wow.
it crossed 100K. So I'm just gonna make a quick division. So basically, if you only hold Lebanese pounds, you are 60 times poorer, or everything is 60 times more expensive for you. So this is what happened. A huge collapse of a Ponzi scheme. All fiats are Ponzi's, but some Ponzi's are still getting fed, you know.
Yeah.
And for Lebanon, it was the end. No more feeding. Obviously, Lebanon defaulted on its debt in 2020. Um, just imagine, like, if you wake up, I mean, it wasn't like from day to day, but like, imagine if you go to the store and you're getting paid in your local currency, but you just cannot afford much of anything.
That's
That was
so. I'm still trying to get over WhatsApp. Like, I'm learning this for the first time. So my brain is like in multiple gears, keeping up. Just how specifically did the government plan on taxing WhatsApp? Like, if you have the app on your phone, you'd pay extra? Like, how would they control that?
I'm trying to remember, but I mean, WhatsApp is a centralized company, so it can be
Yeah.
blocked. Like
Facebook,
through
yeah.
through your whether either Wi-Fi provider or a telecom provider. So unless you comply, let's say I bought my phone. It's an old phone. It's a Bitcoiner's phone. I bought it 2019, I think, in Canada. I paid the 15% sales tax on this phone. Now
Yeah,
it's
Canada's. Sorry, I was going to
is
say Canada. When I was there, it was GST and PST, but I think they've changed it to
HST. Yeah,
HST. Yeah.
yeah, that's it. I'm curious. You lived a long time in Canada as well. I'm curious to
Yeah, born
know.
and raised in Scarborough,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Ontario.
yeah. Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. All my
And
schooling in Canada.
this is where you learned French.
Yeah, I was in French immersion. And so I always say that I think my parents carried out a social experiment on me because so my family is from Trinidad and Tobago. My parents moved to Canada for various reasons. And then I don't know how long they were there. Then they had my sister who's older than me, and they had me. And my sister, so we're Christian. My sister was enrolled in a Catholic school, and she's 6 years older than me. I come along. It's time for me to go to school, and they decided to put me in French immersion. So at school, I would learn French, and at home, I would speak English and be exposed to like Trinidad and Tobago culture through food and music and stuff. And then with my friends, like at home, I used to live in a building like low income. We would do everything Canadian, so ice skating in the winter and British bulldog on ice skates and stuff like that. So that's how I learned French. But I would say that I missed the immersion part because I wasn't actually living in a French speaking region.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it's great. Languages are amazing. The
Yeah.
more you can speak or understand, I think it opens so many doors. So back to my phone and
Yeah.
WhatsApp, I paid my 15%, and then when I moved here, so whenever I would visit, I would get a message from the the Ministry of Telecommunication that you have to pay duties on this device, and you have 30 days
Wow.
left. And then I would never
Wow.
stay for long, so I would always, head back to Canada, and then the next time the same. But this time, since I moved here, I was getting this message, and I had 90 days to comply, or else I couldn't use. I mean, I could use the phone as connected to Wi-Fi and use the apps, but I couldn't be
Okay.
connected to the 4G or
Yeah.
5G network and use it for calls. And eventually I went and I had to pay, it was, I think, $42 custom fees. So this phone has two international taxes paid on it. A very precious phone, very precious.
With a lot of
So yeah,
stories.
you can do everything if in a centralized world,
Yeah.
which is the most of the world we live in, you can do it. And anything can be done.
So you also mentioned that so the Lebanese government defaulted on its debt. Who were the primary debt holders? Like, was it the domestic market or was it to international, like bondholders?
So it was the banks mainly, which is one of the reasons why also. But the main reason why we don't have access to our money is that fiat is a Ponzi, and people connected to the, let's say, political circles were able to withdraw their money a couple of months before, whatever they had of their money left. Oh yeah, it's disgusting, and like just the fact of it's. I hate this word. We use it a lot. Resilience. We used it during
Yeah.
COVID. We use it a lot
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Lebanon. It gets me. I'm so mad. I don't want to be resilient. I want to be weak and I want to enjoy life.
I
I'm
hear
sick
that.
of being resilient. But
And being strong and being like, yeah.
uh, just let me. I don't know. But no, I'm joking. You have to be resilient. Life is fucking tough everywhere on the corner on the world. But the banks, the banks were big holders of bonds, and you have to know again, Lebanese diaspora is huge. So if you have
Yeah.
5 million people living in Lebanon, 5 million Lebanese people, you have between 10 to 15 million Lebanese people living outside, and through waves of immigration and generations,
Yeah.
um, so all these people were kind of lured into sending their money.
Hmm.
Most of people who Lebanese people are pretty successful outside. We're hardworking. I guess we have a good education system. We want. I think that's like kind of a con, but we the society is extremely superficial in a way, and you have to succeed in order for your parents to be proud and be and
And brag. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So for all these reasons, well, Lebanese expats, have wealth accumulated through generations of also being successful outside. Um, and so when the country needed more money, the central bank needed more money for the Ponzi, um, they were luring diaspora's money back into the country by offering very high interest rates on deposits.
Ah.
And so why would you buy treasury bonds for, I don't know, back before COVID, the rates were floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lebanese people would invest in the country by sending their money, and lots of them obviously regret it today, but they still have the chance of still be making money because they are still employed or have their business outside.
Yeah.
So whereas people
And
here
that
are,
value
are
proposition
wrecked.
is beyond just like the monetary return on investment. It's also your culture, like where you're from. So I could
You're
see
right.
why you would want to buy bonds in your home country because you want to see
Mm.
your country do
Of
well.
course, contribute to the reconstruction. And I
Yeah.
mean, Lebanon is a beautiful, beautiful country with so much potential. Whether it's nature, the weather here is amazing. You know, we have sunny days. It's very small, but you have the sea. You have it's a coast. Lebanon is a coast, literally like a 250 meters of coast that's sadly been privatized,
Oh
most of
dear.
it. And then you have the mountain, you have very fertile land. Like it's a beautiful. Let's remember that the Middle East in general is the cradle of the three big monotheistic religions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have old churches, you have so much history, old mosques, even there's still like a temple in downtown Beirut, a Jewish synagogue.
Oh.
Um, yeah, not many Jewish people obviously still live here. The ones who do are very discreet, but for years, Lebanon was the refuge of all the Arab Jews escaping Iraq, Libya. You know, when the state of Israel was implemented, there was lots of animosity towards Arab Jews, so they felt unsafe. And for a while, everybody was here, which also contributed to the banking sector. You know, because usually Jewish people, are
Yeah.
wealthy, have money, and I was actually sorry, I'm going all over the place, but you know how the
Yeah.
myth that Jewish people control the money?
Yes, I've heard that a lot. Yes.
And you know, some people say it's a conspiracy theory. Some people say that it's because they're horrible people who used to exploit, you know, like whatever. But I learned something recently, and I'd love to share it with you.
Please.
Maybe it
Yeah.
will make people curious also to know more. So in Islam and in Christian faith, I'm not really religious, but I'm raised a Christian.
Yeah.
But obviously, I know lots about Muslim faith, being having lived here. Um, so usury, which is the lending money for high interest or for interest at all, was frowned upon in Islam and in Christianity. So Jewish people, through their faith, it was not a problem. So they were able to kind of unofficially wear the you know, the I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but just become the natural money lenders of everyone because it was not
Yeah.
forbidden by their faith.
Wow. You know, you said something earlier, Arab Jew. I don't think I've heard those two terms together. And it really stuck out for me as well because my first name, Saida, is Arabic. I
Yeah,
learned that when I like went to France. Everyone's like, "Are you Arabic?" I'm like, "No, why would you say that?" Because of the name. But then I learned that there are Arab Christians. Now you're saying Arab Jews. Can you, because I have a lot of people from the US and also from Canada who listen to the podcast. Can you break down the difference between like being Arabic and being Muslim and I guess then like the different religions and how it works?
absolutely. I'll do my best. Like I'm not an expert on the subject, and you know how people can be easily offended in general, and
Yeah.
especially when it comes to religion. So very respectfully. Um, so for me, being Jewish is a religion. It's not an. It can be also. People, lots of people say I'm culturally Jewish because I'm not really religious, but I do this, and this because this is the
Yeah.
Jewish culture. I can understand that. It's the same for Christian culture. I can be not really practicing Christian, but we do
Yeah.
things just because that's how I was raised. So it's more like an education thing.
Yeah.
Um, but like being Arab, like being Jew is not an ethnicity. Like it's not like being a Homo sapiens or being black or white or so. If you're Arab, it means that for me that you're born and raised and your lineage goes to from the Arabic Peninsula,
Oh, okay.
which is today is called the GCC, like the Gulf Cooperation Council. So Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, the United
Okay.
Arab Emirates. So this is kind of the cliche of the Arab on the desert with the camel, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
and lots of tribalism. This is kind of the Arab culture. But then more towards Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, there's a lots of it's called the Levant. Levant. I don't know why exactly. Maybe because of the sun, something to do with the sun rising or
Like
something.
rising? Okay.
I think so. Um, this has been a huge melting pot also of culture going back to I don't know how many years before Christ, but Chaldeans, Arameans, Phoenicians. There has been so many civilizations, and lots of Lebanese like to say, "I'm not Arab, I'm Phoenician."
Oh, okay. Is that the thing? I'm Phoenician. Call
Like
me
whatever.
Phoenicia.
Yeah, whatever. Like you do you for real. You do you.
Yeah.
I am Lebanese. I even don't really have any idea what that means, other than I'm a holder of a Lebanese passport. I speak Arabic. This is my language, and my mother tongue. I also speak other languages, and um, I'm not. I don't have a big, like patriotic vibe, let's say, about me. I love my country because I was born and raised here, because I
Yeah.
have nice memories, of Lebanon. My family is here, and probably because we don't really have a lots of strong sports teams. This
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
fuel, this kind of the sports nationalism that kind. We do
Hockey.
we're very
Yeah.
successful in, yeah, we were very successful in basketball for a while, so that kind of created that. But yeah, I'm more into like what's the person behind the big
Yeah, me too.
labels. This is what matters. But the region is fascinating if you're an anthropologist or a sociologist. So back to Arab Jews, I also for a while, like, I never met any Jewish people growing up in Lebanon. Um, then I learned that there was a huge Jewish, I mean, normally because Judaism also emanated from the Middle East. Um, um, and an Arab Jew for me is a person who practices the Jewish faith, but also speaks Arabic. All the songs,
Yeah.
the folklore is maybe also a mix, but I don't think they like lots of people living in Israel, who claim that this is their land and everything. Their lineage is white, is Ukrainian, is Russian.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're
European.
you're
Yeah.
not from this land, and so yeah, it's a pretty complicated part of the earth, but a beautiful one, and everybody who's
Yeah.
been here says that.
I'd like to see that. I think there was a documentary on Arte. I don't know if you've ever seen that
Yeah,
channel a while
yeah.
ago. And it showed like Lebanon was like the place to party. Like it showed a lot of like really good nightlife and stuff like that. It wasn't at all sort of the stereotype I thought of when it comes to the Middle East, where women have to be totally covered up and stuff like that. And it was just nice to see something that seemed real as opposed to like propaganda or something that, had a specific agenda.
I like Arte. I've seen lots of nice documentaries. Obviously, there's lots of criticism of state-owned media, especially in Canada today. I'm not sure who owns Arte, but I think it's Germany and France. They have some sort of
Yeah.
cooperation.
Yeah.
Um, but I've watched a lot of documentaries, and I like the objective perspective that, especially, let's say, when it covers the Lebanon or the Middle East. I always felt that they did do the effort to kind of be objective. And partying is one of our biggest, finest exports, for sure. I mean, it's kind of a reason for people to come, and it's true. I've had some, yeah, pretty wild nights here. Tourism as a whole has always been the main component of the Lebanese economy, and one of the reasons why lately, the last few years, because of the wars, there's been many wars
Yeah.
as well. It has been, but you cannot build the foundation of a country, I think, on tourism, because tourism is very dependent on especially in the Middle East, on peace, on countries not issuing travel notices.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the same time, yeah, can you build a country on industrialization? Yes, but there's also lots of things to consider as well. And with the tariffs today and with the pandemic, all the stuff that happened with the supply chains, uh, it was fascinating. The last few years have been exhausting, fascinating but
Yeah.
exhausting.
I hear you. I need to be careful because I think it was yesterday or the day before, I found myself getting sucked into this whole Chinese manufacturing thing. They are going to town. They're revealing all the brands that they manufacture for, videos detailing the cost of each item to put
Oh
together
wow.
a bag from a certain brand. They sell it for 38,000. We manufacture it. You can buy it for 1,500. The only thing that's different is the label. Like, I need to be very careful
Wow.
because I think that a lot of what's happening kind of stems from the same place. I think that it is apparent to many that there is a problem with the money, how things will pan out, whether the United States dollar remains the reserve currency, in the medium term, in the long term, who knows? This multipolar world that's emerging, what's China gonna do? How are things playing out? I think that's sort of at the root of all of these things that we're seeing. And if I'm fascinated by these things, and if I'm not careful, I'll just be consumed by all of this news that's coming in 24/7. Shout out to the Orange Manufacturing Group. They helped me with my logo design, and you know that I'll be ordering their premium hardwood sign and lightning keychain. Accessories are curated from a selection of durable traditional materials built to last. Use the Geyser Fund link in the show notes to take advantage of their trust minimal process. Or to save 5%, go to omg21btc.com. That's omg21btc.com and use code AAB21Q.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and it brings up the point of how this digital age that we live in, the amount of information that is accessible. And if you are a curious person and a bit of a, let's say, I am a bit of a geek, I like to learn to understand things,
Yeah.
it's exhausting because it never stops. And
Yeah.
you have access to so much knowledge, and then you have to, yeah, you have to protect yourself. I totally hear you and have at least 8 7 8 hours of sleep, which is tough.
I know. So, getting back to the Lira and the capital controls and stuff, so you had your shower Bitcoin moment. Have other people in your family also turned to Bitcoin or realized Bitcoin's value proposition in Lebanon?
So not enough. I'll tell you a little bit. I was thankfully happy to be able to like truly orange people, some people, not just have them buy $200 of Bitcoin and keep them on the exchange. Like really get them kind of gently towards the rabbit hole. Um, and then I'll extrapolate a little bit to why I think Lebanon has not adopted Bitcoin yet, even though our currency, has failed spectacularly. So I've orange pilled an ex partner of mine. That was my proudest orange pill because
While you guys were still together or after?
no, no, no. That's like we were together 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we're very good friends. So I was in Canada. I was always, back and forth, talking to him about my Bitcoin journey and everything. And November 2022, that was, you remember the crash to 16,000 US dollars? Like he was genuinely texting me, making sure I was all right. Like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm happy I can buy more Bitcoin. Like, I get more sats per dollar.
Yeah.
And this is when I think for him it kind of clicked. Like he got serious about it. And then, of course, I gifted him Saifuddin's book, The Bitcoin Standard. And I remember once he texted me, and I was like a very proud moment, very happy moment. He was telling me, this book is really blowing my mind. he studied economics at school, and he was like, I always felt there was something off with the system and with
Yeah.
what I was learning, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. And this is thanks to the book and thanks to Bitcoin. So that's my proudest orange pill. My brother, I have just one brother. He's 6 years older than me as well.
Oh, no
Uh,
way.
uh, he got some. He got like I don't know what is a good amount but like it's four figures, let's say. Um,
Four
he did
figures like
sell some.
Bitcoin? Thousands of
No, no,
Bitcoin?
no,
Or?
four
Oh.
figures in euro. Imagine. Wow. Yeah, people who mined 50 Bitcoin every 10 minutes back in the days. Kudos to you for understanding and for not losing. This
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so the funny thing is, my brother bought at a good price, and then this past Christmas, like, he was a bit shy. He asked me, like, I think I'm gonna sell some Bitcoin to buy the Christmas presents, and I thought
Oh.
it was cute. Like, it's how people say never sell your Bitcoin, and I agree to an extent, because you don't sell uh, an ever appreciating asset. You keep it, you sell it, like this is the last thing you would sell. But sometimes, if you're not making enough cash flow, you can
Yeah.
take some gains, buy some Christmas presents, spoil yourself. So as long as you don't liquidate everything, you should be able to sell some of your Bitcoin. So
Some, a little bit. And the notion of selling too is still very fiat minded, because we think about like
mm,
a sort of money in exchange for goods or services.
mm,
But I mean, like if I don't know, buy something with Bitcoin, which I have, I am selling my Bitcoin in exchange for like
absolutely, Bitcoin
panties,
is money. You're Yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
Sorry,
you
you
do
wanted to say
sell.
you wanted to
Shout
give
out
a
to
shout
panties for
out.
Bitcoin. Yeah. I use them as an example. Yeah. So,
I just wanted to say, maybe just
yeah.
to finish, to conclude this, why have the Lebanese people not adopted Bitcoin? So I was lucky enough. I gave two lectures at universities
Okay.
for like young adults about money, about Bitcoin, and the differences of between Bitcoin and crypto. Um, so Lebanese people, because of the history, unfortunately, we have a very, very high time preference. Not capable of long-term planning, because you're always kind of making sure nothing is going to fall, or like nothing is going to collapse over your head, like literally.
Mm, yeah.
Whether it's a building, a war, the Lira, trauma after trauma after trauma, the Lebanese psyche today, I don't think is ready to take
Oh.
a risk and to dive into the unknown that is Bitcoin initially. So initially, yeah, they tell you it's high risk, high reward. For me, it's the least risky thing I have done in my life. But to get there took me some time, and my basic needs were met during that time. And I had, I allowed myself to be consumed by the Bitcoin rabbit hole. People today, not everyone, there's still people who are wealthy here, but lots of people, if you really take it on the scale of the country, they're just making ends meet. How are they going to
Hmm.
buy even $10 of something that might fluctuate? It takes time, and I don't think they're ready, unfortunately, to go into that route. But it's not
Hmm.
impossible, with time, with education, with learning, using the pain of losing your savings, your money, turning that
Yeah.
into something that can work on the long term. There's lots of crypto. People want to buy the next crypto and get an 100x in a week. But then you get rogged more, and then you're less inclined to adopt Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Yeah.
I love that insight that you dropped about time preference, because I always envisioned time preference as just people who want to gamble. But I never sort
Mm,
of like went a layer deeper to say or to ask myself, why would that be? And when you say that, like something can literally fall on your head. Your bank could rug pull you, your government
mm-hmm.
could rug you. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense that their time preference would be quite high, and they wouldn't be thinking like, I don't know, 20 years down the road, because They're
Yeah.
like the context says something different. That's so good.
At the same time, like my parents, my grandparents, the Lebanese mentality in a way, obviously things change, huh? Things,
Yeah.
there's nothing that stays in time. But like my parents and grandparents, they had low time preference.
Yeah.
They lived through the gold standard years, they
Oh,
they
okay.
they understood saving, they understood buying pieces of land in order to grow trees on them, and which is something that my brother and I have been doing back in the village that my father is from. That's been exciting. Um, um, because I mean, this is all you have, and a tree, just like buying Bitcoin, then the best time was 14, 15 years ago. The best
Yeah.
time to buy Bitcoin, and planting a tree, it was. I wish I planted the tree 15 years ago, but the next best time to do that is today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how does your experience with Bitcoin in Lebanon compare to Bitcoin living in Canada?
Mm.
Like the dual perspective that you touched upon.
So yeah, people who lived in developed countries, they see Bitcoin as an investment, and rightly so. It protects you from debasement, from money printing. It gives you access to sovereign money, to money, money full stop, real
Yeah.
money that nobody can take away from you. I'm sure you remember the Canadian truckers protests.
Yeah, definitely.
Regardless what your views are and what we're doing, nothing is homogeneous, nothing is black and white again.
Yeah.
But you cannot punish people who didn't commit a crime. Definition of a crime also legally can vary, but
Yeah.
you cannot make people suffer and not be able to buy food because you froze their bank account. This is not how you deal with this situation. Um, so so having lived in Canada, seeing how my needs were met, I was safe. There was no wars. Um, I also viewed Bitcoin as a long-term investment, as like a 401k. What is it called?
Yeah. Yeah.
This kind of
401k.
thing. 401k. But also being from Lebanon and seeing what was happening, and seeing how the rails, the banking rails, were shut down, and we don't really have online banking. Um, I like I identified a lot with the stories that I'd heard, from Africa, people sending remittances from the developed world to the developing world. Um, um, Not everybody in Lebanon has access, or forget Lebanon, the general developing world, emerging markets. They don't have access to like a trading platform that you can
Yeah.
buy stocks on.
Yep.
So this is, Bitcoin it gives you access to wealth, but also to be able to move that wealth freely without constraints, without capital controls, without a middle person telling you no, AML, money laundering. Why do you need this money? There's a meme. There's so many memes. Like a man at the counter, at the banking counter, saying, "Hi, I'm here to request permission to use my own money." Like, this is very profound to me, and I don't have a bank account in Lebanon. Obviously, I have the one that's been frozen with the capital controls, but I don't have a bank account. I get paid in Bitcoin, and whenever I really need money for life expenses, I will go to the physical exchange on the street where you convert euros, dollars, whatever, and send them USDT, though, not Bitcoin. I have to convert to USDT.
Okay. So
Um,
yeah, I've never used Tether. I've heard a lot of, I'll try not to go down this rabbit hole too much, but you're so, like, you've got so much for me to ask about. But I've heard that a lot of people in developing regions rely on Tether.
mm,
And I think Lebanon, Argentina were listed
mhm.
as companies, as countries that use Tether a lot. So
Yeah.
there is a case for it.
So definitely, and I've been also following. I think Paolo Awardino is named, that the
Yeah.
CEO of Tether. I think he's a Bitcoiner, and it's been
Yeah.
fascinating to see how one thing can have two consequences. How Tether is being, how the demand for Tether will strengthen the US dollar because it's going to keep demand for the US dollar, because in order to issue USDT you have to buy treasury, or you have to have,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you know. And if the dollar's reserve status collapses like it is, at least in a way, for the American politicians and also for the American people who benefit from having the do they benefit, though I'm not sure, to be to be continued. So it benefits the keeps demand high on the US dollars, but also enables people all over the world to transact. They can send USDT to each other, or they can send Bitcoin to each other, but at least this rail is going to be very important in the future, for sure.
So why why would people prefer to have Tether over Bitcoin, like concretely speaking? Once you get Tether, can you go and buy tomatoes, for example? Or can you buy tomatoes with Bitcoin?
But that's a very good question. I'm sure more and more, and there's like a website you can see what you can buy from Bitcoin in each country. There's a vegetable shop in Lebanon where you can. I haven't been yet, but I should go. It's a little bit far from where I live.
Yeah.
That accepts Bitcoin and probably Tether as well. There's a pharmacy I know that accept, and there's an escape game, Bitcoin themed escape game
Oh,
in
sweet.
Lebanon. Yeah, I want to check it out. I'll let you know how
Yeah.
that goes. But the reasoning why have Tether is, so if you're convinced, if you're a Bitcoiner, obviously this is the thing you want to hold the most of. But if you're living in an emerging country, you need access to US dollars, because this is for you is the strongest currency. You
Yeah.
don't want Lebanese pounds. You don't want, I don't know, Egyptian nairas. You don't want Egyptian pounds. You want US dollars. And since it's not easy to get dollars because of the banking capital controls and whatever, if you provide value, if you're a graphic designer and you
Yeah.
have a remote job, you're working, for a US company, they can pay you whether in Bitcoin or in USDT, and then you walk to the corner, the physical exchange, and then you get your dollars out and you feed your family, or you buy
Wow.
yourself what you need to buy. Um, it's just because the banking rails are
Yeah.
so corrupted. So it's yeah, it's another system parallel to it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's almost like the Lebanese banks have disrupted themselves by not adapting,
Absolutely,
and Tether just came in,
absolutely.
and it's funny because I'm starting to pay attention to Christine Lagarde with the European Central Bank, who's saying that you know the CBDC must come along. It's a matter of sort of life and death. And because I know that Lebanon and France has some special
Mm,
relationship or something,
yeah.
and so I guess part of that, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, could mean that if more and more people are using USDT, there is
Mm.
no use case for the euro. Like that. Yeah, that market just fades away.
That's a very interesting point. So, in general, the euro doesn't is not really used in Lebanon. It's more because for years dollars and lira were pegged, so it's kind of the
Yeah.
same currency for us. Um, but yeah, and by the way, Christine Lagarde keeps popping up on my Gmail. LinkedIn suggestions. You should follow Christine Lagarde. I don't know why. It's annoying. No,
I
I don't want to
stopped
follow
LinkedIn a while
Christine
ago,
Lagarde.
and this contributes to it.
Can you see? I don't know if you can see this. This is
Oh,
obviously
yes.
AI made.
Yeah,
I
reading
love
Bitcoin
it.
Standard. Yeah.
So that a few years ago, I would have probably jumped at the occasion of using the digital euro because it's convenient and it's
Yeah.
modern. And I
Yeah.
would have bought whatever bullshit was coming out of Christine's and other people's mouth. Thankfully, because of Yeah, the pain I've went through and the sad consequences of broken money, but at least this is where I am. This is what I've learned, and I love having this kind of discernment and not falling for convenience at the cost of privacy and sovereignty. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck the
So,
CBDC, but it's gonna be adopted by lots of people.
yeah. Yes. But I don't know how they're going to test it. If it's I mean, if it's rolled out, I'm guessing that there will be, on these bounty websites, there will be a bounty to hack it or to do something. So it'll be interesting
Mm,
to see, how
mm.
it
Is it gonna be
happens.
used? Is it gonna use cryptography? Is it gonna? How is it gonna work? I have no idea. I'm not so technical about these things, but how is it gonna be sold? Like, what are gonna be when you download or sign the user agreement that you never read? This is something I would read, a user agreement that I would
Yeah,
read. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
through AI
definitely.
probably.
A few years ago, when the GDPR rolled out here, so I'm not. Switzerland is on the European continent, but we've got a separate currency and stuff. Some things we go along with, some things we don't. The
Hmm.
GDPR rolled out, and
Sorry, what's the GDPR? I don't know what that is.
General Data Protection Rules. So
Oh.
the rules were updated in Europe, compared to like Canada or the US, other regions, where
Hmm.
companies had to disclose exactly what they were doing with our data. And
Mm.
Microsoft, like they went along with the protocol and they revealed all of the information. And I think I still may have the screenshot somewhere. They revealed that they actually use user data to sell to pharmaceutical companies in the United States.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow.
whoa, like I'm just
Wow.
using Word and Excel. Like, why do you need to sell my information to a pharma company? Like that's a level
Wow.
of I guess cross strategy or whatever that it was beyond my imagination. So
Mm.
with
Yeah, it's
the
infuriating, right? And you've signed the user agreement. You didn't read it. No, nobody does. But yeah, it's infuriating. Yeah.
yeah. So I can imagine with the CBDC, it must be like juicy.
I used to so much Bitcoin content and podcasts, including yours. I wanted to say it in the beginning, by the way,
Uh,
but I am a big fan of your show. I've watched so many
Thank you.
episodes. I really like it, and your elocution is so amazing. That you're like for somebody like me who speaks with so many accents. I really like listening to your
Oh,
like
thank you.
you do a great. I mean, you are a content creator, but I really like it. Anyway,
Thank you. Thank you.
uh,
Thank you. Thank you.
you're so welcome. So I remember that I don't remember where I saw it, but probably CBDC will be implemented following the protocol of create a problem and then bring it as the solution, so it gets
Yeah,
adopted easily. This is what I think will happen, and the date is October 2025. Huh? That's across.
that's soon.
That's not very far from here. Yeah.
Yeah. For us curious minded people, we'll be distracted with yet something else when it's first rolled out, how people are reacting to it, technical
Mm,
issues, adoption, and stuff. When the Naira in Nigeria rolled out, I think it was 2021 or 2022, it
mm.
was a big deal, but it turned out that it stalled at like 1% or something, like it was very, very low. So we'll see what happens in Europe. But earlier you mentioned getting paid in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So how does that happen? Like you had the aha moment in 2021 in the shower, and then you proceeded to start working in Bitcoin.
That's very recent, so
Okay.
I'm very happy. It's a recent thing. So yeah, following the aha moment and diving deep into the rabbit hole, I wanted nothing more but to be working in Bitcoin, wondering how I can leverage my skills. Like I'm a civil engineer by training. I worked in commercial credit.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I worked in it was anyway. So I was project management. I was excited about how can I how can I do that? And you know how you read on Twitter that I got how to get a job in Bitcoin. It's through building rapport, maybe going through conferences, meeting people. You don't like go to LinkedIn and apply for a job. It's not really
Yeah.
like this. Although it's there's a Bitcoin, the Bitcoin news, the Bitcoin job. What is it called?
Oh
There's a
yeah,
few
Bitcoiner
newsletter.
jobs or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's happening, but for me, like I contacted a company um, because I was really interested in what they were in their website, like in their product and their service offering. We had some back and forth with the managing director. It was also a company getting established in the MENA region in Dubai. At the time, it wasn't a match because they were looking for somebody who wanted to, who had lots of institutional finance
Yeah.
background. Uh, but organically we kept in touch, and a few months later, a few days before Christmas, that person called me and asked me if I was interested in giving them a hand. It still is not a, it's not a full-time job. It's not like the fiat world where you
Yeah.
but still, for me, I'm happy to make that compromise. I'm happy to work in Bitcoin. I'm happy to have a remote job because I don't think I want to work in Lebanon, in a bank,
Oh,
or
in Lebanon.
God forbid. No, no, like I wouldn't want to work in a company in Lebanon because, like, what kind of conditions are
Yeah.
they going to be? Like, the job market is not easy here. And I'm working in what is my passion, so that is something that is a nice reason to wake up to in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and so yeah, I get paid in Bitcoin, and then I very reluctantly walk to the physical exchange and send them some USDT in return for dollars to pay for bills. I've been trying to spend Bitcoin whenever I can. I bought some stuff, online. I bought a book. I
Yeah.
bought some, and it's nice. It's yeah. Do you? I'm curious. Like, do you have partnerships? Do you get paid in Bitcoin, or have you ever been paid in Bitcoin?
I have been paid in Bitcoin, small sums, but nothing extraordinary, like not a proper salary. Yeah, and I'm actually looking at an exchange in Canada. I still have to follow up. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
So they reached out to me to be an affiliate, and it's the Bitcoin Well. I've heard
Okay.
nothing but amazing things about the Bitcoin Well. I
Same
had
here. Hmm.
Adam on the podcast. He's a man of faith. Like it's just all good things. And
Nice.
I've been sort of like hesitating only because I've never used them. Like I haven't been back to Canada
Mm.
to use their exchange, and so I like to be fully, I like to say that I've tried this, it works like amazing.
Mm.
When you were in Montreal, did you come across any of their ATMs or any of their services?
Unfortunately, no. Are they in Montreal? Maybe it's a new thing. I think they're more in
Oh,
is it in Alberta or where? I
Western
don't know.
Canada, but
I
they're
think so.
also, hold on, let me just see. I don't want to get too distracted here. But they're also in the US. So I think that recently they've expanded.
Mm. I used another exchange. I used to use
Yeah.
another exchange. Pretty cool. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's called ShakePay.
Oh, you know what? I heard of them, I want to say like 2020 or 2021.
Okay.
They were all over I think it was still Twitter back then, my feed. And
Mm.
then I stopped hearing about ShakePay.
Mm. Okay. They're still, I think, going strong. They have a, like, I guess all of the exchanges, they have a Bitcoin rewards card.
Yeah.
It's funny that you can shake your phone daily and then get some sats, like sats for free. No, I think, yeah, I wanted to work with them for a while I
Yeah.
was in Canada, but I never saw a job post that kind of
Yeah, that
that
fit.
was suitable. But the Bitcoin, well, I'm also hearing a lot about them. But that's the nice testament to your integrity, what you just said now, that you don't want to promote anything you haven't used. Um, so, I
Yeah.
mean, good on you for that.
Yeah, I think there's a conference in Montreal coming up. So I don't
October.
know. It's in October. Okay, so I have to plan because I mean I'm also a mom, so I can't just like pick up and go the way I used to. And I'm starting to really feel what that means now. So I have to figure out a way just to try them. Yeah, so I can say with full confidence I've tried this and it's good. But I have been paid in Bitcoin, and it is an incredible feeling. Like it is just
Right?
I know,
Oh my God.
it's next level, and I guess the dopamine hit that comes along with it makes me want to, do this even more. Like, how can I get this to happen? Yeah,
So the first time I ever got paid, it was I think early this year or early Jan, and I had just
yeah,
walked out of the gym, so already like a good level of endorphins, and then I got the notification like on my exchange, and and it was a nice sunny winter day. I'll never forget that moment. Like I'm totally with you. It hits different. It definitely hits.
it
It's
does.
receiving sound money hits different.
It feels very special. It feels very, very special. When I started off my Bitcoin journey, so I've done obviously like your exchange. I used Relay app quite a bit. I've done the ATMs, I've done the cards, I've done peer to peer. And initially, it was really just like me sending Bitcoin to myself, just to practice and to figure out what this thing is. So when you have someone else come along, it's like the confirmation that, okay, I know I'm not alone, but now I really know I'm not alone in this
That's
thing. Like there are other people who value this really as
yeah.
well.
And speaking about value, like I value Bitcoin a lot, and when somebody gives me Bitcoin, it tells me for me value myself. Like I've been
Yeah.
deserving of this amount of Bitcoin. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And with time, when you see the fiat price or fiat debase and the fiat, expression of Bitcoin's value increase, it's like, whoa, that's pretty amazing.
Like being able to live on a Bitcoin standard is amazing. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
You have to be cash flow positive. You have to
Yeah.
be able to because and also you have to remember tax implications. You can't. I'm happy now being in Lebanon. Like I did my taxes recently. Um, for the last time for a while at least in Canada. So now I can be more free whatever if I spend or send or receive Bitcoin. So that's definitely a plus as well.
Yeah, Canada is actually a pretty cool country for taxes. So when I left, I didn't own like property or anything. I think we left in, I want to say March or April, maybe April. So the previous year's taxes had already been done. I think I just had to sign off on like Q1 of that year. And then it was like nothing more. It's not like the US where as long as you keep the passport, you have to still
Yeah,
pay a certain percentage.
yeah.
Canada was like really
Oof.
cool.
I agree. Yeah, that sucks for American people.
Yeah.
Like they're stuck for life with the IRS. I mean, as long as they keep their passports. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Michel, it's been a real pleasure learning from you, speaking to you, sharing with you, but especially learning from you. We're going to wrap up the interview portion and we'll move on to 21 questions soon. But before we close this out, can you please remind people where to find you? Or if there's something else that we haven't touched upon that you want to discuss, we can do it now as well.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed this. Bitcoin can be a lonely journey
Yeah.
because people around you are not Bitcoiners. And I think you said once that that was the reason why you started your show. So I want to thank you also for the fun conversation. Also, thank you for um, introducing me to so many people, so many different perspectives. It's fun to learn, and at the end of the day, just like Jeff Booth and so many people say, we are Bitcoin. Bitcoin
Yeah.
is doesn't exist without people using it and adopting it. So. I just want to say a big thank you to all the Bitcoiners that I've learned from. The most toxic maxis that initially I was like, what's wrong with this person? Why are they so
Yeah.
mad? But I understand. And like
Yeah.
I'm forever in their debt. So thank you very much. I'm on Twitter a lot, Michel_Jabour. And so the company I've been contributing to is called Onramp MENA. You can check out LinkedIn, Twitter, and the website. So it's a fascinating, actually, solution, custody solution, mainly geared towards, in my personal opinion, institutions and very high net worth people with a lot of Bitcoin who are obviously scared of making a mistake, self-custody mistake and losing it, and mainly institutions, because the institutions are there. They're not just coming, they are there. And like this is something I've been very interested in. Where does Strategy custody their Bitcoin? Is it really at Coinbase? How does it work? Who has the key? Like,
Yeah.
does a person have, I don't know, a seat signer or a cold card? This is something that I'm very fascinated with, and imagine like if with more and more institutions adopting a Bitcoin standard. Is it going to be a multi-sig? Who's going to hold the keys? The CFO? Like how is it going to work? And Onramp MENA, which is like a sister company of Onramp US, have a very, very interesting multi-institution custody product offering that I think institutions should definitely check out and learn more of.
Very nice. I will keep that in mind. I've tried to onboard a few companies in the energy sector, and actually, you mentioned 2022 when the price dipped to 16,000. I had a meeting at that time, and I'm like, maybe it's not going to go so well because the volatility is on the downside. But there's always been a hiccup with respect to, I guess, trust and broader institutional adoption. Are other companies doing this, or is this just an individual thing? So I think that the more you speak about the service offerings, and the more I'm sure some institutions don't want to dox themselves, but I guess the more people can see that institutions are doing it besides MicroStrategy, that helps to fuel adoption further.
Absolutely. And we never thought about custody before Bitcoin. Even with the bank runs, like if you have Apple stock, you don't really own it. It's custodied for you through it's an IOU. Everything is an IOU except Bitcoin. Yeah. So the future of custody is definitely something that is going to be critical to the adoption.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, thank you so much, Michel, and stay tuned
Thank
for
you.
21 questions. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Keys. Yeah. Man like quakes. Man like who? Yeah. Takes her Bitcoin off exchanges under self-custody. She runs her own node, providing liquidity. Yeah, she got her own keys. She got her own keys. She got her own keys. Yeah, she got her own keys. 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 Yeah, she got her own keys.